Hey students, this is for Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 for Wednesday, September 30th, and we're going to discuss prime and composite numbers. And yes, you went over this probably in 5th and 6th grade math. That was where you were introduced, but we're going to do a recap to make sure you remember what they are. So a prime number is a whole number that cannot be made by multiplying other whole numbers. So an example, 5 is a prime number. You cannot multiply other whole numbers like 2, 3, or 4 together to make 5. It is either 5 times 1 or there's nothing. So an example, 6 can be made by multiplying 2 times 3. So 6 is not a prime number, it's called a composite number. So years ago, the number 1 was included as prime, but now it's not. The number 1 is not prime and it's also not composite. Okay? It stands alone as its own number. Then there's dividing into equal groups. It is all about trying to divide the number into equal groups. Some whole numbers can be divided up exactly and some can't. So the number 6 can be divided exactly by 2 or by 3. And so there's 2 groups of 3 here, or there's 3 groups of 2. An example though is like number 7. You cannot divide it up exactly. You could have 3 in one group, 3 in another, but then you'd have this one extra sitting out, and you can't slice it in half and get a whole number from it. So therefore it's not composite, it's prime. And we give them names. So when a number can be divided up exactly, it's called composite. If it cannot be divided up, it's prime. So 6 is composite, but 7 is prime. And then they give you some of these to kind of just look at, like 2 times 2 does equal 4, so 4 is composite, but the number 2 can't be divided up except to get 1, and we've already determined 1 is not prime and it's not composite. So 2 is actually prime. 3 is prime, 5 is prime, 7 is prime, and so you start seeing this and you're like, well, maybe they're odd. No, number 9 is considered composite because we can do 3 times 3 and get 9. So that's how it's explained, and then there are more details into it. You cannot divide into fractions, which I've kind of already gone over. You cannot divide into groups of 1. Okay, so if it's a group of 1, then it's a prime number. So 7, it can be divided by 7, but you'd get the number 1, and that's not how that's going to work. We're also only interested in dividing by whole numbers other than the number itself. So again, you can't do 7 divided by 7 because you're trying to do other numbers to get a whole number. So 7, it remains prime. A composite number, when it can be divided exactly by a whole number other than itself, is when it's called a composite number. Again, they're going to use 6. 6 can be divided exactly by 2 or exactly by 3. And it can be divided by 1. So that it makes it composite. 12 is the same. I can divide 12 by 1 and I get 12. I can divide 12 by 2 and I would get 6. I can divide 12 by 3 and I would get 4. Divide 12 by 4, I would get 3. Divide 12 by 6, I would get the number 2. And 12 divided by itself would get me the number 1. There's lots of ways to divide 12 to get whole numbers, so that makes it composite. So there is a prime numbers activity. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to make our own prime number chart. Now, this one's something you're going to do at home, and it's going to take you a good solid day to do. Instead of doing 1 to 200 though, I just want you to do the chart from 1 to 100, as you can see here. And you can mark your numbers with whatever color, but you need to create a key. So if 2, because we know that's prime, if you want to do 2 in blue, then all your prime numbers need to be blue. And all your composite numbers, which would be like number 6, would need to be, I don't know, maybe you want to call composite numbers red. But that's the chart. You're making it from 1 to 100, and you're color coding it, then taking a picture and sending it into Canvas. This is your assignment for Wednesday. I know that seems like a lot, but it's numbers 1 through 100, colored with 2 different colors, and remember, number 1 will not get a color at all, or it will get a completely different color because it's neither prime nor composite. Do 1 through 100, create your chart, and then you're going to use it for the rest of the school year, so don't get rid of it, okay? All right, guys, thank you so much. You have a good day.